The Higgs field, an invisible ocean of energy that permeates every corner of the universe, is one of the most mysterious and profound discoveries in modern physics. It's not just a theoretical curiosity. It's the very reason matter has mass, why stars can form, and why the universe didn't burst apart at the speed of light moments after the Big Bang. But imagine, for a moment, that we could do more than observe the Higgs field. Imagine we could control it, manipulate it, reshape reality itself by tuning the very mechanism that gives things substance. This is the speculative frontier of Higgs field manipulators, technology that could redefine energy, matter, and perhaps even the concept of existence itself. To understand how humanity might one day manipulate the Higgs field, we first need to understand what it is. The Higgs field is a quantum field, a kind of invisible energy layer that fills the entire cosmos. It's named after physicist Peter Higgs, who proposed in 1964 that a universal field might be responsible for giving particles their mass. Particles like electrons and quarks don't have mass inherently. They interact with the Higgs field, and that interaction slows them down, making them feel mass. The stronger the interaction, the heavier the particle. The weaker the interaction, the lighter it becomes. It's like swimming through a thick fluid. The more resistance you feel, the heavier you effectively are. In 2012, the Higgs boson was finally detected at CERN's Large Hadron Collider, confirming decades of theory. But that was only the first step. Detecting the field's existence and controlling it are two vastly different things. The Higgs field is unimaginably stable, and that's a good thing. If it fluctuated wildly, matter would disintegrate, atoms would collapse, and reality itself would lose coherence. So how could anyone possibly build a Higgs field manipulator, a device capable of adjusting local interactions with such a fundamental and delicate field? In theory, a Higgs field manipulator would act like a tuner for the mass generation mechanism of the universe. It would be able to increase or decrease how strongly the Higgs field couples to specific particles in a given region. The implications are staggering. Reduce the coupling, and you could make an object lighter, even weightless, without changing its composition. Increase the coupling, and the same object might become dense enough to mimic the mass of a neutron star. It would be the ultimate form of mass control, capable of altering the inertia of matter, defying gravity, and potentially changing the way energy and momentum behave. Physicists describe the Higgs field as having a vacuum expectation value, a kind of baseline energy that fills all of space. To manipulate the field, you'd have to shift that value locally, which would require extraordinary energy input or exotic matter to stabilize the change. One proposal involves using intense gravitational fields or quantum vacuum fluctuations to temporarily distort the local Higgs potential. Another suggests the use of coherent quantum amplifiers, advanced particle beams that could resonate with the Higgs field and create controllable ripples. In either case, the device wouldn't be like a switch or lever. It would be more like a symphony conductor orchestrating quantum harmonics at a fundamental level. Now, if a civilization were to master Higgs manipulation, its technological evolution would explode beyond comprehension. Imagine being able to turn any object into near-weightless material for spacecraft construction. Vehicles could accelerate to relativistic speeds without the burden of mass inertia. A ship could shift into a low-mass state, glide effortlessly across the solar system, and then re-stabilize its mass upon reaching its destination. Energy efficiency would approach infinity. For planetary engineering, a Higgs field manipulator could be used to reduce the effective mass of planetary crusts, making tectonic reconfiguration possible. Mountains could be lifted, oceans moved, and entire continents reshaped. In medicine, localized Higgs manipulation could allow nanoscale tools to pass through tissues without resistance, or even reduce the inertial mass of specific molecules to accelerate biochemical reactions. It could revolutionize every aspect of life, from transportation to energy to human biology. But, as with all power beyond comprehension, the risks would be apocalyptic. If the Higgs field were destabilized beyond control, the entire fabric of the universe could shift to a lower energy state, what physicists call a vacuum decay. In that moment, all atomic structures would unravel at the speed of light. Reality itself would collapse into a new state where the laws of physics, as we know them, would no longer apply. The ultimate weapon, then, would not be a bomb, but a field destabilizer, a device capable of locally dropping the Higgs potential and annihilating entire star systems. Yet, we can speculate that future civilizations, perhaps Type 2 or Type 3 on the Kardashev scale, would not use such technology destructively. They might instead integrate Higgs control into their very infrastructure. Picture a Dyson swarm made of adjustable mass panels, massive structures that can shift between ultralight and hyperdense configurations to absorb and redirect stellar energy. Or habitats suspended in space with no engines, floating purely by adjusting their Higgs coupling until gravity no longer applies. Even planetary defense systems could rely on Higgs field modulation to neutralize incoming asteroids by momentarily reducing their mass, causing them to disintegrate harmlessly in the atmosphere. There's another fascinating implication: time and relativity. Since mass directly affects time dilation, manipulating the Higgs field would indirectly allow for time control. A localized Higgs enhancement could slow down time in a region by increasing mass density, while reduction could accelerate it. In other words, a Higgs field manipulator could function as a temporal device. This could lead to time-synchronized computing networks, relativistic communication systems, or even localized time sanctuaries where time runs at a different rate for scientific or philosophical exploration. But what kind of device could achieve this? The answer might come from merging quantum computing, high-energy physics, and AI control. Quantum field harmonizers could act as the central processors, maintaining stability across vast energetic fluctuations. AI systems would monitor the quantum state in real time, adjusting the manipulator's resonance patterns to prevent catastrophic runaway reactions. The entire system would need to exist in an isolated vacuum, perhaps surrounded by magnetic confinement fields similar to those used in fusion reactors, but on a vastly more precise scale. At its heart might be a Higgs core, a containment region where the quantum potential of the field is modified through coherent particle wave interference. Such a device would blur the line between science and magic. It could enable technologies that seem impossible: true anti-gravity, inertia nullifying armor, ultra-efficient propulsion, or matter-energy phase shifting. A soldier wearing a Higgs-regulated exosuit could become nearly invulnerable by amplifying the inertial resistance of their molecular structure. A scientist could walk through walls by temporarily nullifying mass coupling. Entire cities could hover above planets, powered by localized mass suppression fields. Even teleportation, the dream of science fiction, might emerge, as objects with zero inertial mass could be accelerated to near light speed with minimal energy, effectively appearing to vanish and reappear elsewhere. However, the ethical implications are immense. Controlling the Higgs field is tantamount to controlling the property of existence itself. In a civilization with such power, laws would have to extend beyond politics and economics into metaphysical governance. Misuse could erase entire worlds. Regulation of Higgs manipulation might involve quantum oversight eyes, entities dedicated solely to monitoring the field's integrity across the cosmos. It's possible that advanced extraterrestrial civilizations, if they exist, already discovered this threshold and either transcended physicality altogether or self-destructed upon crossing it. Higgs manipulation could be the final technological test, the gateway between physical civilization and ascension to pure energy existence. On a smaller, more grounded scale, early prototypes of Higgs field control could emerge much sooner than full manipulation. Scientists might begin with Higgs analog systems, experimental setups that simulate mass modulation using photonic crystals, superfluids, or metamaterials that mimic the mathematics of field interaction. These analog systems could help us study how to change effective mass in a controlled environment, leading to breakthroughs in propulsion, materials science, and quantum communication. Eventually, with enough precision, a miniature Higgs field modulator could be built, perhaps the size of a particle collider ring, designed to test local adjustments in vacuum potential. If successful, it would mark humanity's first step toward true matter engineering. Imagine a world where engineering isn't about assembling materials, but programming the universe itself. Where designers sculpt the properties of matter like artists shaping clay. Where spacecraft designers define their ship's mass profiles algorithmically, adjusting inertia depending on mission phase. Where construction happens not through cranes or welders, but through Higgs wave modulation fields that phase-build structures atom by atom. The entire concept of physics as a fixed framework would vanish, replaced by a dynamic universe governed by intention and understanding. In such a future, the line between reality and imagination would blur. The Higgs field manipulator would be the key to unlocking ultimate creative freedom, a universe no longer bound by fixed constants, but by the will and ethics of those who understand it. It's the ultimate expression of technology's purpose, not to dominate nature, but to harmonize with the deepest structures of existence. The power to tune the mass of the universe would not merely be scientific mastery, it would be a responsibility bordering on the divine. Perhaps, one day, when our descendants look back on the early 21st century, they'll see the discovery of the Higgs boson as the moment humanity glimpsed the code of reality for the first time. A single keyhole view into the machinery of existence. And when they finally learn to reach through that keyhole, when the first Higgs field manipulator hums to life, it will mark the dawn of a new era, one where physics itself becomes programmable, and the universe bends, at last, to understanding. Hey everyone! If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button, drop a comment to share your thoughts, and subscribe so you don't miss any of our future uploads. Your support helps this channel grow. Thank you for watching.